This is Hauling Success, a podcast that focuses on operational excellence in logistics, diving into the real-world strategies, tools, and insights that help transportation and trucking companies run smarter, grow stronger, and scale with confidence.
This is Hauling Success. My name is Pam Pollock. I am your host, and we are sponsored by the great and wonderful Amos TMS. Today, I have with me Mr. Jamar Jones. He is a visionary force behind Forever Media, transforming businesses through the influential power of branding and business advisory. He has worked with esteemed colleagues, myself included, such as Marcus Lemonis, Red Bull, and many others. Jamar has secured over $1 million in sponsorship for events he has produced and through his podcast. He is known for creating impactful experiences for entrepreneurs in arenas, festival grounds, and retreats all around the world. As an international keynote speaker, seasoned entrepreneur, author, and podcast host, Jamar shares profound insights about his book, Change Your Circle, Change Your Life. His motivational talks delivered to large audiences at major venues and renowned companies like BMW and PPA with the focus of personal branding and small business growth. Nationally recognized with features on Apple TV, Roku TV, and billboards in New York Times Square, which we'll get in that one a little bit later. His vision is transformed 2,500 plus entrepreneurs to date, monetizing their brand positioning, and provides once-in-a-lifetime opportunities for entrepreneurs, marketers, leaders, and creators globally. Welcome to the show, my good friend Jamar. How are you?
Doing good. You read the whole bio.
I do what I'm told. I wanted to give it justice, but then obviously needed to tweak it because you changed my life. So we're in this. We are in this, and it's all your
together.
fault.
This is a lifelong connection. So yeah, I mean, I'm super honored and grateful to be on this podcast. Even just being on your podcast is kind of crazy.
It is very crazy. And to be honest, it's a nod to you because this is all your fault. This is 100% your fault all the way.
I saw greatness.
You saw greatness before I even lifted a finger, and I don't understand that, but we'll get into that in a second. I want to talk a little bit about you. So I know that we just obviously read the bio, but you took out of the bio one of the best things I find kind of more relatable about you is that you were also on stage starting with performing and singing and rapping.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Let's kind of talk about that journey just from that kind of world into more the entrepreneur world.
Yeah, man, I kind of just fell into the entrepreneurial space, but I've always been an entrepreneur because I feel like artists, musicians, we are entrepreneurs. We have that spirit of entrepreneurship. So I was a former hip hop artist for 11 years and performed for a lot of major acts, T.I., Snoop Dogg, Common, Bone Thugs and Harmony, and was doing, hundreds and hundreds of shows. And that was just through grinding. I mean, just hitting people up. I had no management, no promoters. I was the one going after it and unlocking those doors for myself. And unfortunately, I tore my vocal cords way back in the day. Yeah,
I forgot about that part of the story.
That's why I'm not doing it anymore.
Valid.
So I was at the University of Minnesota performing. It was probably around like 300-400. It was on a college campus out there, and just whatever people are imagining, that's basically what happened. Just tore them, finished the show through adrenaline, and then that's when my whole life changed. I finished the rest of the tour because I didn't really fully know what's going on, and then I also worked in corporate as well. So 8 years in IT, so I got a lot of experience in the corporate space. Unfortunately, we got layoffs that kind of pushed me into entrepreneurship. And I haven't looked back since.
Where you're meant to be, I was going to say that. Where you are meant to be for sure.
I mean, I don't think I can really accept employment. I don't feel like I'm employable at this point. I'm too much of a wild card.
Me neither. And again, you're to blame for this. I'm giving you a lot of credit for where my life is at right now, for sure. Well, and you wrote a book. So I want to talk about that for a second, because the title itself, Change Your Circle, Change Your Life, has been literally what you've done for me, 100%. And it's a very key aspect of business and life and promoting yourself and that kind of stuff, is like, how people around you help shape where you're at and where you're going to go. Kind of that theory of like, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
But how have you, for those who haven't read the book, right? Looking back, what was some of those big changes in your own circle that it helped accelerate the change in your career?
Yeah, I mean, it was everything. So hold on. For people that are on video, this is what the book looks like on Amazon. Okay, so go
Yep,
ahead and grab you a copy.
absolutely.
So, yeah, it's everything. And that's the whole reason why I wrote the book, is because one day I was in an office, had employees, and I'm like, we had clients and all this other stuff. I'm like, how did I get here? Like, how did I actually get here? And I was like, man, it's the ability to consistently change my circle again and again and again. And then I started to unpack that and like unravel that. So I kind of broke it down into kind of 3 phases that people need to go through to change their circle, which is first unlocking your self-awareness. So to be able to change your circle, you got to know who you are. You got to dig a little
Write
deep.
that one down, people. To change your circle, you need to know who you are.
We all do, no matter what in life.
Yes.
We got to, because a lot of us are just going in circles and we never stop and just look at where we are today. How did we get here? We need to understand what our desires, our ambitions are, the things that make us tick. What are we afraid of? How do we perceive life? I mean, there's just a lot of very deep digging that we have to do to figure out who we are, to unlock that self-awareness. Because once you unlock that, then you have options, you have choice to where you want to go, because now you're aware. It's like, I feel like it's like, if you watch The Matrix, you unplug yourself from the Matrix. You're like, oh my God, like I'm not in the in the simulated world, anymore. And then the next thing is, then you got to look at, okay, well, who's in my current circle? So once you have your self-awareness unlocked, who's in my current circle? Are they adding to my life, or are they subtracting from my life? And that's just a very kind of basic, simplistic way. I go a lot deeper into the book. And then the third thing is like, how do I get into new circles? So once you understand what you're working with, how do you get into new circles? And that's not cutting off the people that are with you and have your back and love you. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that new opportunities are going to come from new circles most of the time, and not from your current.
It's that theory of, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
100%, 100%. And I believe, though, the what you know matters when you get in the room, though. Because I know some people that know a lot of people, but man, they're not trustworthy to save your life.
Yes. Fortunately, I've met a few of those in my career as well. 100%. And your personal brand is important. So I just want to switch gears a little bit, kind of talk about the personal brand, because obviously that's a huge part of marketing and what you try and teach entrepreneurs as a whole. And if you're building your personal brand, there's kind of this idea of, obviously social media is a first stop to trying to build that brand. At least that's what you taught me, right? But we kind of look into the whole, what's the difference between being authentic versus like you're oversharing? You're saying too much. You're being too negative. You're being too positive. You're being too this. Like, what's the difference in your mind between making yourself relatable versus you're doing too much?
Yeah.
And you can use me as an example if you want.
Pam's doing way too much, okay? Way too much. No, I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't say you were kidding.
She's a special breed, y'all. She's a special breed. Okay,
yes,
so
100%.
I oftentimes don't like to go into the doing too much, because people are usually doing too little. And, they're not putting themselves out there enough. And a personal brand is just, if you really think about anybody you idolize, or maybe kind of a hometown hero or an influential person in history, you look at kind of what makes them that, right? Besides just the things that they did, what was their presence and what did they stand for? That is a personal brand, right? It's just, what do you stand for? and what makes you uniquely you. So what are the things that you will die on a hill on? What's the things that you just plainly disagree with? What do you agree with? And
Personally and business, or separate?
I would say both. I would say both.
Fair.
Mix those two together. I don't believe in a world of, because I feel like business is personal. Like when you really think about it, people buy people. Some of the biggest brands in the world are people, because
That's true.
we are attracted to everything that they represent. And even some of the biggest business brands out there are driven by human interaction. Even if you think of Nike, Adidas, NBA, any of the clothing brands, like they're all driven by somebody that's
relate
out
to
there
people.
wearing or doing what their brand is. It's not just that logo.
I like
And
that a
so
lot.
it's just so important. It's like the oversharing, like you just need to be genuinely you. Like I feel like when people are like oversharing or they're egotistical, you can read through those lines all day. Like
If they're making it up.
Yeah, they're making it up, or like every post is a sob story. It's like, come on. You're literally just you're just trying to pull at the heartstrings of people, and it's like your life can't be that.
You can also tell when those posts are AIs as well.
100%.
That's getting a little old very quickly.
Yeah, and you can see that a mile away. And so it's just about being genuine to who you are. And like for you, for example, it's like I just said, you got to pour into more of your beliefs online. And because you've never been shy, about letting people know.
I'm not shy. I'm not shy at all.
But
when we first started working together, and this is where it transitioning into the next question anyway, but this is that idea of one, it's obviously a self-esteem issue. It's an imposter syndrome issue for me, particularly when we first kind of started pushing to say, hey, you need to get yourself out there more. Like you have a story that matters to other people. And that was something, it scared the crap out of me. I mean, this. And so it was,
for sure,
I don't know, one, that I ever wanted to be on a microphone. I certainly didn't want to be videotaped 100% of the time. I mean, you completely changed me from that aspect and making me realize, I guess, to your initial point of like, I have to know who I am. I think when how many years ago was it? 4 or 5? Was it pre-COVID?
Yeah, that's when we first met. I feel like was either 2019 or 2020. And through kind of the COVID, because we were in similar circles though. I feel like we
knew some of the same people. Yeah, we still do, obviously. We know some of the same people for sure.
Yeah.
But it was definitely one of those, this guy wants to put a camera in front of me. Like, he's freaking nuts. And then he catapulted me in the first 6 months to be like, you know what? I'm sending you to New York. No, you are not.
She did not want that.
I just muted myself. Did you catch that?
That was good. I like that. That was good.
I was so scared, and you knew this. I was texting you in panic. I was like, I was thinking of anything to get out of this, and at the same time,
to get out of it more than 10 times for sure.
I tried because it was so uncomfortable. One, big scary towns scare the crap out of me for a lot of reasons. Some personal, some just in general. Like I am a small town girl, for sure. But it's this idea of, this is a circle I didn't know that I could even be in, much less stand out in, much less feel comfortable in. It was very scary. And then when I got there, it was like, wait a minute, I actually kind of like these people. I actually kind of like them. It didn't take long to start feeling like, wait a minute, these are just regular people. Yeah, they have their own podcast, or they've been doing this for years, or they have more experience. I felt like I was going to go there and just be like this very small fish in a very, very large ocean. Yeah. And you did a fantastic job, to your credit, of making sure that I felt included and making sure I was doing things out of my comfort zone. But I even tried to get out of doing the podcast. So
You did.
you have on your podcast me when we're in New York in Times Square.
Yes.
Taping this thing, and I tell everybody how uncomfortable I am and like get me out of this situation because I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why I'm here. And then just off camera, you're telling me it's got thousands of views and it's one of your leading videos. I was like, no freaking way.
People, they want more Pam. They want more.
It's just crazy to me.
Authentic.
But if you look back at how much even my life has changed since then, because what year did we go to New York?
That was 2023.
2023. So now we're fast forwarding 3 years later. I've got my own podcast, which again, never like I don't even
2024. That's
late
where it was.
24.
Right.
So
yeah.
Okay, so 2 years. Yeah. So we're going on 2 years. Never would I have thought that you'd be a guest on my podcast. Like seriously, like let's go back and I feel like we need to like post these simultaneously to be like, guys, look at this. This is growth. This is what changing your circle will do for you. And creating a brand that matters is like people will start listening to you. Okay, so roping this all back into the trucking, right? The trucking industries traditionally we relied on referrals, relationships rather than personal branding necessarily. So what do you think trucking companies should start thinking about more when it comes to media and like that branding aspect of things? Like what are we missing as trucking companies? What are we missing that needs to happen to kind of set us apart from somebody else?
I mean, there's something that's really blown up recently, and it's kind of something that's pretty funny when you think about it. But for some reason, people love it because I think people are naturally nosy. So just literally getting people a window into what you do. So I've seen like people having like, let's say at restaurants, I've even seen people at McDonald's, right? They're putting their phone up and they're going live and they're just doing their job, right? They're folding the sandwiches.
Like the TikTok type theory.
Yeah, the TikTok, like, or they're putting, TikTok or Instagram live. Like they're just putting it up there, right? And they're just videotaping their life at restaurants. They're making sandwiches and they're just, cutting the bread and putting all that stuff there. But they have thousands of people in the live just watching them do their job, right? That they're doing. So what I feel like is a missed opportunity is one, there's in trucking, there's a lot of, I would call downtime. Because your drive time,
we
right?
We talk about that a lot in this industry. Your downtime sitting in a dock and unpaid at that. Like
sitting at the dock or
create a TikTok video. Start making some money off branding yourself.
Just show people a window into what you have going because most companies are not doing that, right? Because and I understand that maybe your customers are not on there, but you'd be surprised how far this stuff reaches. And it's kind of crazy. So on the side, and I guess this might be the podcast that I break this out because I haven't really told anybody publicly yet. But so on the side, I have
wait, is this breaking news?
This is really breaking news. So and I'm just saying this is like a full circle moment because it involves this conversation. So on the side as a hobby, because I'm constantly like doing a bunch of stuff for the business as a hobby, I started streaming collectibles just on the side. And I just was doing it just because I have collectibles. Obviously, you see, I'm like a huge nerd to my core. All right, nerds get paid. All right. So listen, so I was streaming. I'm streaming these collectibles. So fast forward to today, though. I started about this like a year and a half ago because I just needed an outlet. I just needed something to do on my pastime. Fast forward to today, that page that I was streaming on has 50,000 followers on it.
Ooh, I want to be like you when I grow up.
I'm meeting some of these people that are collectors, right? Now I'm getting into one-on-one conversations with them, and they're now like huge real estate developers. They own multiple businesses. These people are doing all this other stuff. So I'm finding out more about them and it's leading into other opportunities. So all I'm saying is that, and no one really knows the Forever Media side of me over there.
So you keep that separate.
I kept it separate, because it was my outlet at first, but now it's now starting to intertwine and mold into one another, because it's just another media platform. So I say this in the sense of, the more you can just get yourself out there and be able to connect with others in an engaging way, right? Because if I would have just messaged all these people one-on-one, asking about our services and doing all that stuff, but streaming, like, it's an avenue of connection. That's why I wanted to say that story, because you're connecting. So if you're connecting if you're on the dock, if you're out driving, if you're doing a pickup, if you're on phone calls, like, all that stuff is content, right? And you're showing your personalities in there. And I know at first it's going to be uncomfortable, but as you get, people will also cheer you on, though, along the way. As you keep doing something, people will be like, you know what, Pam, like, I really like this stuff. Like, you got to keep going. They're going to give you encouragement to keep it up. And so you got to put yourself out there to get ahead of the competition. Because, I mean, there's a lot of trucking companies that are just not doing content. They're not posting online.
They're just sticking to themselves and doing their own thing.
It's just referrals. And I understand that it's like a number one business driver for a lot of people. But it's
becoming the new way to do sales as well.
Yeah.
If you take that content and you put it on a business page, even such as LinkedIn, where it's more professional, and you put some of that content out there, and all of a sudden you can go through and connect with the VP of shipping, the VP of manufacturing, the transportation coordinator, this manager, that manager. You can be very strategic as to who you pick and what industries and what businesses, and all of a sudden they're seeing content that you're putting out. So I guess follow-up question, this is a little bit more for me, but I'm trying to, my guess is going to relate to a lot of people. We live in a world right now, obviously, where it's the likes and the clicks and the positivity, and you feel like it doesn't do anything enough. I would think that we all know that one video isn't going to do it. One video isn't going to pop off and get you a crap ton of business and go viral on video one. What is your kind of advice in terms of consistency in marketing and branding and putting those videos out there, putting those types of posts out there? Like, one's not enough. I think I can confidently say that for sure.
It's not enough.
Are we talking years? Are we talking months? Are we talking, like, what's your advice when it comes to consistency of it?
Man, it's just the number one thing that matters the most, and the consistency of it it's about getting shots up. That's point blank, period. It's just, how many shots do you want to get? If somebody's going to the gym and they take 2 shots and they leave the gym, but somebody else is going to the gym and they do 1,000 shots a day and then they leave the gym, who's going to get results faster? That's really all it comes down to. Yes. Can somebody get lucky? Of course. But a lot of us we ain't got that luck. Okay.
You got to remember too that even these people when you're doom scrolling at night and looking at videos have been doing this for years.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't get 20,000 views and 20,000 likes overnight, unless you probably did something drastically wrong or stupid that people are making you go viral, which will be a short flick and likely become my life one of these days. I feel like I'm already mentally gearing up for that one stupid thing that Pam said that makes her go viral. But it is about consistency, even on days when you don't want to. And I think that's been part of my struggle with it a little bit, is like, I go through phases where I'm like, this isn't working. I'm not getting the result I want. I'm not making the connection I want, or that post that I really needed some help on, or I was really hoping hit the right people, still haven't. And it's frustrating a little bit. And then you have to look at the big picture of, like, recognizing, like, when I first met you and we first started kind of the branding and even the concept of doing this, and I took your free, what was it? You call it course, right? Free course.
It wasn't a course. It was more of an opportunity. It was like a coaching branding opportunity that I put out online.
And I won that, and that's I won a 30-day, and then we just kind of went from there. And I realized that this guy's actually knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And it is one of those things too where it was out of my comfort zone. And I'm a huge believer, and I think that every entrepreneur needs to understand this, that great things happen outside of your comfort zone. And when you decide to take steps into things that feel very unknown and very confusing and very uncomfortable are when great things tend to happen. But again, not happen overnight. And I think that's part of even what I go through seasons right now of going like, okay, I've been at this for a year. I've been at this for almost 2 years. What is it? Why am I not getting the sales that I'm exactly looking for? Why is it still difficult to find drivers that I want? Why? And you kind of start
Yeah.
questioning things. But I think that consistency really starts to matter. But in the trucking, right? It's very hard, especially if you're the truck driver, to be networking. But
Yeah.
many business owners go to conferences and they collect business cards and they hear from all of these people, yourself included. Like, I went to a conference and heard you talk, but I'm not the one as a truck driver behind the wheel. Like, so the networking also becomes the likes and the connections, like you just talked about. Like, it all of a sudden, something that started just for you and for fun has now become something that you can intertwine your business in. So how does that effective, like how can they network when they can't necessarily make it to these conferences?
Yeah. Be in person. Yeah. At these things. So I mean, that's so a couple of things. That's why I'm such a believer into the social media aspect of building and posting and being a brand online, because if you can't make it in person to network with people, you can definitely network online. So there's ways that you can shoot direct messages to people if they're engaging with your content, right? Shoot them a message. Say, hey, thank you for engaging with my content. What stood out to you?
Ooh,
Just
because
start a conversation.
that was gonna be a follow-up question. Like, what's the process after you meet someone? So even if it's somebody at a truck stop, or it's a dock worker, or it's a shipper manager, or whatever it is, like, what is that follow-up that's not annoying yet memorable? Like, how do you
Yeah.
make yourself stand out in that moment?
I love this question. So this is, and once again, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but so I believe in having some social proof of who you are and what you
Oh,
do.
okay.
And you have to make yourself interesting, right? So no one, if you follow up with somebody, right? I'm trying to give a, let's say, you're out and about and you meet somebody at the bar, right? And
In
they're
which you're
chatting
drinking
you
water,
up.
because drinking and driving is a bad thing in trucking.
Don't drink and drive. But you meet somebody at the bar, right? They're talking to you, and then you guys go your separate ways and you get a text from them. If you never found anything interesting about that person, are you going to text back? Are you going to, like engage in there and just keep trying to push to try to find something
Yeah,
interesting?
your
No.
eye roll and turn your phone
Yeah.
black again. Like, I'm over
Block.
that. Yep. Oops,
See
they're
ya.
trying to sell me something. And it's
Yeah.
that would probably be a good point of, like, not coming out after the first date, for
Yeah.
lack of
You
better
don't want to
words.
take them right to the bedroom, right?
Yep.
You don't
The
want to do
sale
that.
of it.
You want to build a relationship
Ooh.
a little bit first.
Is that
So
what I'm doing wrong?
you
How
can't
do you always get on this topic one way or another?
straight to the telly, right?
Man.
You got to get to know people.
I like that though.
So the key is, but you have to have something interesting. This is why posting on social media, building up somewhat of a profile of yourself, so people know that, like, hey, let's just connect on LinkedIn, or let's just connect on TikTok or Instagram, or whatever your Facebook, whatever your platform is, right? Let's just connect. And then once they land on your page, if they start to see stuff that's interesting, they're gonna be like, okay, this is kind of cool. Let me go ahead and message back Pam, right?
Yeah.
It creates that. So you got to have some social proof of what you do. And this is what we do as a business. And I teach everyone this, especially if you're in a service-based business, you need to have some kind of social proof page that just shows that you are the real deal, right? You need just one spot that people can see everything of who you are and the cool things you've done, the people that you know, who's in your circle, testimonials, just proof that you are who you say you are. And so
Well,
I
and
can get a quick,
testimonials are good too, especially in this
yes.
industry when we're dealing with fraud and people who can't vouch for you or people who don't know who you are. The testimonials is a big part because now you're not just showing the world who you are by yourself. Somebody
Yes.
else is tagging you in. Somebody else is being tagged in that post to show that they truly know you.
And like, and so in your world, so can you be trusted with a route? I think is a huge thing because I know I have a story because I was in when I first started my business, we were doing a lot of video production. And so I lost a very big contract because they thought I was a one-man band. So because I
Oh,
would always show up to the job with just me. And so they had a big contract and I've been working with this place for a year. So I'm like, and they needed a huge promo, like commercial for their like corporate brand. And it was in Chicago. And I was like, okay. And I found out afterwards that I'm like, yo, like, why do you guys, oh, I thought it was just you, Jamar. And so I was like, I learned a huge lesson that I wasn't even thought of for that big of a project. So if you think about from a trucking perspective, if you're just the only guy or the only gal that's answering phone calls, text messages, you're running all the routes, you're doing all the things, and you're never showing your customers that like, hey, I also have other people or other connections, or I can get another truck. I can get somebody to come with me to do these routes, right? You need to show that you can handle that. And that's
yeah.
where the testimonials, that's where online, like that's where you can kind of show that you're able to actually take on those kind of jobs.
Okay, so
Um,
what do you think could be so sometimes, and I've met several people, obviously a lot of my clients have kind of taken this different take. They don't want to tag their customer because somebody might steal their customer. Well, now I know who you are.
yeah,
You don't necessarily want to, I mean, I know some people, and this is obviously not me, but they're very private about who they are outside of the truck. Like,
mhm,
or what locations they go to or what lanes they run. So it's a weird kind of balance that they want to have some idea of proof of what they're doing is legit, who they are is
right,
legit, but also trying to keep themselves out of it. So if a 20 truck fleet like my size, right, comes to you and says, I want to balance this because I don't want people to see my face. I don't want this is I'm a personal person, right? There's a lot of guys that are like that in trucking. You're typically a personal person because you don't like dealing with people. That's why you don't have an office job. That's why you don't
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Like you just want to be in the truck by yourself, but you also want to have this online presence. Would you have any advice for somebody who's trying to balance the two between each other? Like how do
yeah.
you do both? How do you be private but at the same time make it known that you know what you're doing and who you are?
there there are a lot of different ways. That's why they call it creative. You know, like you gotta.
We talked about doing a cartoon. I'm not going to
That's
say
what
on
I'm
what
saying. Like,
platform.
yeah.
But we discussed making a cartoon
How's
because
that
I was
going,
like,
by the way?
I'm not on that platform. I'm doing fine just by myself. And clearly showing my face. I'm not saying it. I am not saying it on the show,
Don't
guys.
say it. Don't say it. It's
I'm
all
not going
good.
to. But it was an idea because I was so afraid of the camera. I was so afraid that I was going to look stupid. I was so afraid of the judgment. The insecurities were 1,000,000%, and I was like, nobody's actually going to want to listen. So can we create an AI bot? Can we create a cartoon that does
There,
the talking for me?
yeah.
And it's one way, but you got anything else up your sleeve? You think that
I mean,
people could try?
you could show through pictures, through a story. Like you could just tell stories. Like there's so many different ways. You could just do audio, tell stories through pictures. You could have a character of yourself. You could literally just use your hands and just tell a story through your hands and have like so. Green screen is awesome because you can actually put images and videos and all types of stuff behind it, and then the person can be in front, describing something.
Or they
And
use one of those little GoPro thingies that don't even show you. You're just showing what you're looking
another
at.
great example. Yep,
Oh, that's a
GoPros.
good one.
You could do those in the corner. You could do those in the front. Yeah, there's so many ways to do, and you will build an audience through that, but you need to have those different things need to have some type of character that people can buy into. That's the only thing. So like the story, like how you tell the story, people will buy into that. How you show like just the cameras of a GoPro of like, hey, there's a guy that I just started obsessively watching on YouTube that he he cooks because I'm not a cook myself. I like to make some stuff here and there. But he cooks in the woods. So he goes out in the woods with his dog. He doesn't show his face. He doesn't
Never
talk.
see it.
He doesn't talk at all. And it's like ASMR. So he like just takes the camera on unique angles and then he just like cuts it up. He grabs the like off the bark or the branches off trees, and he'll like start to create his dishes. And then he brings the ingredients with him, so he's not making everything from like
Yeah.
exactly the environment. But he makes these amazing dishes, and I think he's some chef that now cooks out in the woods with his dog. He doesn't show his face. He always has a hood up, and you never see his face, and he never talks. But
You can be creative without making it about you if you're super, super personal.
Yes. But the other side to that though is like your story is sometimes you also just need to get over it.
Ooh.
You know,
I couldn't even tell you how many times you told me that, Pam. Get over it. You're doing it. This is happening.
You know, like
we're
you just have
pressing
to
record
through.
and you're going to talk.
Yeah, I mean, look at you now. I mean, you are meant for this. So the thing is, it's about your why. You're like, let your why be the driver
Yep.
of what you're doing. And so sometimes we have that imposter syndrome or disbelief, like, why me? No one's
I
going to
still
like
wake
what
up
I
every
have to
day.
say. I don't have anything good to say. Like, who cares? I'm just another person out here doing my thing and no one's going to find that interesting. So you have to get over those limiting beliefs that you have in your own that are getting in your way. So yes, you can have these other creative outlets, but first, I really want you to visit yourself. And that's what the thing of
Yeah.
unlocking your self-awareness, because sometimes we have to punch through, and it's about having a why. And for you, you knew no matter what that you did have something to say, right? You wanted to have a voice out there, and you wanted to have impact because you care about people. Everything around you is you put yourself, sometimes not in a good way, last, and put other people first because you're that type of
Yep.
person, right?
Yeah.
So but the thing is, you know that you are meant to share something with the world, right? And have impact. Now, the thing that was blocking you was like, well, is it me though? Is it really me that's going to be able to share that? And that's a lot of people though. I think it's very relatable to a lot of people out there listening and watching this, is that you have to have that. And so every time I talked with Pam, it was more of going back to the why. That has to get her over the hump to be like, okay, but I'm doing this, right?
Yeah.
And
This
now
is
she's
why
on
I'm doing it. This
stages
is where
and
I'm at.
all types of stuff.
Well, and I've shared on this podcast before, like Simon Sinek's statement of people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And so telling your
100%.
why. But I think when working with you, kind of my breakthrough, I remember very clearly the moment when you crafted my story and then read it
Yes.
back to me. I was like, wait a
Yes.
minute, you just made me sound really freaking good. And he goes, well, is any of it a lie? And I'm like, no. I was like, yes, I've had hundreds of customers. Yes, we've done millions of lanes. We've done millions of dollars worth of revenue. Oh yeah, I was on the local news. Oh yeah, I was on this. And
Yes.
once you pieced all of that together, I was like, oh, I sound really freaking good right now. But it was that breakthrough of like realizing that like how people are seeing you. And once you put kind of your resume together and being like, hey, I am years in this business, or I have done all these miles, I have done all these lanes. And sometimes it's piecing all of that information together to be like, hey, you are one in a million. You are unique. You do have a story to tell. And that's just human to human type aspect of things.
Yeah, 100%. And we
I
all have
loved it.
that. Every person has that story that you already have history of things that you've done and accomplished already. You just haven't put the story together. And that's
Yeah. That
And once
that was
you see
profound
that,
for me. It really was. Like, I still
yeah,
look back at that thing and going like, "Oh man, look at how good I sound." And it's crazy because that was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you would have never heard me say that. You would have never. I was like, when you were like, "Well, what do you want your opening 30-second pitch to be?" And I'm like, nobody wants to hear that. Like, and they were like, "No, we're going to do this, and here's the list of questions. You're going to answer it. Give me the data, right? The actual
yep,
information, the facts behind it. And then
yep,
we're going to make it sound and level you up one more." And it really did, because it also made me open my eyes to what was actually going on and what I was a part of and what story of my own actually needed to be told.
yeah, yeah.
I,
You start to uncover those things. So
I
yeah.
blame you. I blame you. All right. If you could leave trucking leaders one piece of advice about changing their circle and starting to really invest in themselves as entrepreneurs in this space, what would it be? I
Uh,
have one in my head, but I want you to answer first.
Changing your circle and investing in yourself. So I think that's exactly what it would be, is that I feel like probably in the trucking industry, a lot of people don't invest in themselves. Um, Meaning like you'll invest into, your
Chrome and
inventory, your
windows and
products, into the truck, the maintenance, whatever you need to get. I mean, you get Pam will tell you, you got to get your compliance and get all that straight. Okay, don't be
yes, I will.
skipping that step. Okay,
Yes, I
uh,
will. Thank you for
don't
that,
do
by the
that.
way.
So you got to invest in that way, but you also have to invest in this. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's helping you, because I feel like when you invest in your own self education of just business knowledge, or how to grow on social, or how to get on podcasts, or whatever that thing that you're looking to grow, right? You invest in that, you start to meet other people that are on that same path. And that will help kind of change your mindset and maybe your limiting beliefs too that you have about yourself and what you're even able to create. Just kind of like that story I just told you, where I lost the big contract because of my limiting beliefs, right? I kept showing up with just me. So guess what I did after that? Everywhere, even if the job didn't even call for it, I showed up with 3 people,
Just
even
to
on
make it.
smaller
Yeah.
gigs. Like they're paying me back then. Back then it was like $400, to show up somewhere and do a little video. And I'm showing up. I got 3 people. I'm not even really netting anything, but I want people. But then what happened is the word got around and like, yo, Jamar got a whole crew. He got a whole crew of people. And then I started to land these bigger corporate gigs at these events and doing video and stuff like that. So it started to snowball, but that all happened by, getting that education. And either we're going to learn the hard way, or we're gonna like, that was the hard way.
Yeah.
that was me losing money. I could have had that money if I would have invested in myself and learned that ahead of time. But instead I had to learn the hard way. So you got to invest in yourself. I feel like is the number one thing, because it will give you a fast track to where you want to go, or at least a competitive advantage.
I love that. I love that. Thank you for being here, my friend. I have missed you greatly. But
Yes.
truthfully, and you know this because every once in a while I'll send you messages saying it, like, you have changed my life, and I truly like live off of the theory of it's about who's around you and what experiences you put yourself out there and living out of your comfort zone. Those are all things you forced upon me, um, willingly or not. I think about it often, about how scared I was to go to New York. And then when you put my name on a billboard, I was like, nobody cares about this. And then I was like, wait a minute, Pam, it is a big deal. It is something to be proud
Yes.
of. And you did that. So thank you very much, my friend. I
You're
am forever
welcome.
indebted to you for the experiences and for changing my circle and my life as well. So how can people find you if they want to
Yeah.
be a part of that? How can they find you?
Yeah, man, I'm easy to find. I'm easy to find. So listen, it's forevermedia.com is the main website. So FOUREVA media.com. And you can check out all the great stuff. Got a new promo video that we just put out. So has everything about us. And also my main platform is LinkedIn. So you can Jamar Jones on LinkedIn. You can see me with the cool profile picture. I'm not hard to miss. Okay.
Yes. But that's what I love about it, right? That's the marketing. That's the branding. That's what we
It's all
need.
part of it. It's all by design. So yeah, and you can definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm also on other social media platforms as well, but LinkedIn is a great place too, so you can see kind of what's going on.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you very
Thank
much.
you.
And we'll connect again soon.
Sounds good.
Thank you.